and welcome to this week's In Conversation. My name is Phil Jackman and I lead on CyberNorth, Dynamo Northeast cybersecurity cluster supported by Accenture and the Innovation Super Network. Each week I'm talking to people in the Northeast cybersecurity scene. And today I'm joined by Stew Hogg, Head of Cyber Resilience at Waterstons. Morning, Stew, how are you?
Morning, Phil. Yeah, no, very good, thank you. I've been taking the opportunity in the with the pandemic just to spend more time with the family, and that's been a nice change amongst a difficult situation.
Yeah, it was an interesting Christmas, I bet.
It was indeed, yeah. A smaller one than normal, just us and the two little ones. But I have to say, a good chance for us to make our own traditions. So it was nice all the same.
Excellent, excellent. So you and I have known each other for some time, probably at least 10, 15 years or something. So can you start with telling us a bit about yourself and your role at Waterstons?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. No, as you say, Phil, we've had been in a relationship for a good long amount of time, and my journey in the Northeast, I came down here to study for university. So I did an astrophysics degree at Durham University about 15 years ago. So that led my journey here. And that was great fun. I got my afternoons off and instead had to stand on top of the physics department in the dead of night taking pictures of asteroids. And I really enjoyed that. And when I came to the end of my studies, actually I didn't want to leave the Northeast. I wanted to stay here. So I looked around and I found Waterstons, a great local technology company that could offer me that kind of challenge of applying the problem solving that I love doing physics, but in the real world, solving real problems with real businesses. So I've been doing that for over a decade now. And my career at Waterstons started doing the more technical side of consulting. So I was leased out to people like universities in the region as an IT manager. I've worked in the petrochemical sector, large manufacturing businesses, legal practices, and helping them to harness technology to solve their problems. And around 5 years ago, I moved into a security specialism, and now we offer cyber consulting to that range of clients that we work with, and I head up our cyber resilience team. So we do everything from strategy and governance around security to helping people get the standards like Cyber Essentials, ISO 27001, and also the technical side of security, doing pen testing and validating that the technical controls will help our clients stay safe.
Excellent. And so Waterstons is a much bigger organization than when I first met you. I think it's grown 6 or 7 times. How much of that growth has been on the back of cybersecurity?
Yeah, it really has seen that growth. I think we were around about 50 people when I joined, and we're now 214, I believe. So we really have seen that growth in the last decade and taken us internationally. Security obviously penetrates everything we do, and so it's interesting. We've got over 20 people in the business that work on security-themed projects, not just within my team, but on our service desk doing security monitoring, in our technical projects team putting in technical solutions around security. But it goes even beyond that, and so I have to say that a lot of that growth will have security at its heart. A decade ago, security used to be a very bespoke thing that you would ask for, and maybe wouldn't come along that often. But now security is baked into every project we do, whether that's developing software in a secure manner or moving people to the cloud and thinking about the security implications of that journey. So very much security has been a large driver on that growth curve. And also, as we work in more regulated industries, so critical national infrastructure, healthcare, we also work in the mergers and acquisition space. The drive for security and compliance is only increasing at the moment. And so I have to say that we foresee that will be a large part of our continued growth into the future.
Okay, but you're now a global company. You've set up an office in Australia. So what was the thinking behind that?
Yeah, we are. Yeah, and the thinking there was really to follow our clients. Waterstons, as you know, we're all about relationships. We famously don't have any salespeople, and so we've developed these long-term partnerships with our clients. And as we've developed longer-term relationships with larger clients, they've asked us to help them out with the UK, out with Europe. And so a number of those organizations had offices in Australia and that part of the world. And there was a critical mass of clients who were all saying, actually, can you assist us more on the ground where we've got offices and locations in Australia? And so we started with a few staff, and then officially a year ago, we opened our Sydney office. And that's been a great way of both serving those clients, but also giving us that international reach. And now we can offer services 24/7 on the back of that move into Australia. So something that is only going to increase, but primarily it was serving our clients.
So it's going well, and presumably, and is cybersecurity a main part of your offering over there?
It is very much so, and in fact, this quarter we'll be launching our 24/7 SOC Security Operations Center, and that's going to use a follow the sun model. So it'll use our UK offices to staff it in ours here, and then we'll hand the service over to our Australian colleagues. And very much, as you can imagine, we're working with that enterprise level clients. We can then offer that assurance of continued security monitoring using advanced tool sets 24/7. And not only that, we're actually seeing our client base in Australia really asking for that cyber consulting expertise. They've definitely gone on the journey in Australia to really see security as a priority now, and we're having quite a number of inquiries asking for us to help people on their journey to, say, achieve 27001, or just make sure that they are secure amongst what is quite an evolving threat landscape at the moment.
It would be nice to see the sun here in the UK at the moment, but I think you touched on this, but are there any differences between the Australian market and in terms of cybersecurity and the UK market?
It is interesting. One thing that's common is that people don't want to be sold to. People don't want a commodity service, and we've built our business on forming trusted long-term strategic partnerships with our clients. And that's true here, and that's true to the way we operate in Australia. One thing I guess that is fair to say is that there are a number of watershed moments in security. You can imagine them in the UK. There were things like when the TalkTalk breach happened. There were things like when WannaCry impacted a number of organisations, in particular the NHS being quite impacted. And those were quite UK specific moments which made the business world sit up and think, okay, we need to be prepared. I think it would be fair to say that Australia have been seeing those moments more recently. And so we had things like the Australian Prime Minister in the summer warning of nation states targeting their businesses and their government. And also in that neck of the woods, the New Zealand Stock Exchange was subject to a DDoS attack in the last year as well. So they've started to see a few more of these watershed moments, which has turned security from a sort of bubbling topic that was always there, now to one that's really in focus and on everyone's lips when we're engaging with our clients out there. So yeah, it absolutely has catapulted into the spotlight, and they're doing some great work, it has to be said, through the Australian National Cybersecurity Centre, which they've set up, very much learning some good practice from what's been achieved in the UK.
Excellent. So talking about strategic alliances, I understand that you have recently been certified by the National Cybersecurity Centre to provide certified cybersecurity consulting services. Well, that's hard to say. Was it a difficult process?
Yeah, no, I have to say, firstly, we're very proud to be working closely with the National Cybersecurity Centre, and you're quite right. We're one of only a handful of consultancies who've got that badge of approval to do security risk management, risk assessment services. Yeah, I think the process, I think the right way of describing it is robust, and I have to say, there are a few certifications in the cyber world where you have to read a textbook. There's a few behind me on the shelf up here, and pass an exam, and that's a very common way of demonstrating your knowledge. But it's becoming increasingly the case that doesn't really go far enough. It doesn't speak to your expertise and your quality when it comes to the industry. And so through that process, we had to fill out quite a detailed submission. I think we put forward something like 22 references of clients that we'd worked with across different sectors. And some detailed examples of our work that was then validated. And then on top of that, we had to have certified staff. And after that, you undertake an interview process. And I think it was about a 2.5-hour interview that we went through just so they really could understand who we were, what we did, and were happy that they were going to put that seal of approval onto our service. So yeah, very proud to have that status. It's going to give a seal of approval to our clients and offer them the confidence that we are consulting at the highest level. But it'll also help because there are a number of critical national infrastructure organizations that really need to put this at the top of their agenda, and that status gives them a short list of people to contact who really can demonstrate their credentials in this area.
It's fantastic news that we've got such accommodation in the region, and so well done on that. And how do you think this relationship's going to develop over time?
Yeah, it's a good one. I think in cyber we're stronger together, and so it's been really good to see these partnerships form, not just with the NCSC but also the resilience centres and other bodies. first of all, I think it's going to be good for as I say, those critical national infrastructure clients, because the NCSC have just launched in September something called the Critical National Infrastructure Hub, which is almost like a shop window for people who really need to consume cyber services, and the NCSC status is a good way in for them to get that shortlist. But also there's this behind the scenes, that sharing of knowledge. We gain access to much of the NCSC's insights, which help us to consult better and to warn our clients of the evolving threats. But we can also share knowledge back in the other direction. And Phil, you'll be familiar with our Lego game. It's a cyber exercise for the boardroom that helps business leaders to think about security. It's a sort of gamification of the topic, but it makes a serious point. And we've recently been sharing that with the NCSC and saying, actually, this is something that we find really valuable. Perhaps you could use it in some of your other engagements and across the industry. So I think sharing knowledge is really important, and there's very much a case of we're stronger together. And working with the NCSC, we're glad to see that's very much really in their focus as well.
Excellent. Well, Lego is about my level of cybersecurity understanding, but there you go. So you touched on the Cybersecurity Resilience Centres, and Waterstons has been involved with the Scottish Cyber Resilience Centre, a partnership between the police and business, and you've now been involved with the NEBRC, the North East Region Business Resource Centre. How do you see this initiative developing?
Yeah, that's right, Phil. And I have to say, the resilience centres, obviously the Scottish one's been going for a good number of years, and the ones in England just setting up more recently. From our point of view, we're really privileged to be able to offer that support both on their advisory group and as a trusted partner. It's a great initiative. I think this balance between a police-backed initiative, which allows us to offer really good, trusted advice with authority to local businesses, coupled with tying into local universities who can provide students with the expertise. It gives them experience, but it gives low-cost cyber services to the businesses that really need it. And then also linking in with the likes of ourselves as trusted partners in the professional space who can offer that higher level, more advanced level of consulting as and when it's needed. And that kind of partnership of that police, trusted authority, local university and talent coming through, and local businesses and experts in the space makes quite a winning combination in my eyes. So we're really excited to be part of that. I can see that only going from strength to strength. We've started the initiatives in the Northeast with a lot of publicity, a lot of education to business leaders, telling them what cybersecurity is all about and how they can very much start with doing the basics right. And I think that's the key message to get out there, connecting business leaders with that message that security starts with getting the basics right. It's not about buying an expensive tool or spending lots of money. And if we can up that baseline, particularly here in the Northeast, but in Scotland and wider, then we can make sure that there isn't that low-hanging fruit from the cyber criminals who are looking to exploit and to try and get that easy, quick buck out of businesses that have been disadvantaged. So it's a really great initiative. It's going to help lots of small, medium businesses. It's going to help lots of charities to access services at free or low cost. Which previously I think has been quite a challenge for those industries. So yeah, only a good thing in our eyes.
I would agree with you, Stuart. I think there's some issues to deal with, but it's more about addressing market failure in the cybersecurity market. There's still a huge amount of companies that need to think about this. Anyway, but my last question is then that the next 3 months are going to be challenging, to want to put a word. What's your hopes for the future?
Yeah, no, they are challenging. I have to say we've been doing a lot of engagement with our clients on the topic of both business and cyber resilience, because if 2020 taught us anything, it's that the only certainty is uncertainty, that change is this necessary thing that we have to adapt to. So we're helping work with our clients to make sure they're ready for change, whether that's the ever-evolving global pandemic and how that's affecting the business world, or whether that's the cyber resilience space and the unpredictability of new threats and vulnerabilities. And we saw that, with stories like the SolarWinds issues over Christmas. That it's an evolving space we always have to keep an eye on. So what are we doing for the future? Well, we want to keep that message up. We want to keep connecting with business leaders because we think cybersecurity is a board level responsibility. And so that's where it starts. So we're going to be working with the Resilience Centre, NCSC, and our existing client base to get that message out there. We're also going to help by helping our clients to really think about security in a different way. And I think our hope for the future is that people don't see security as a project activity, something that has a start and an end, because our experience has been that when people do a little security project and they might get a badge like Cyber Essentials or ISO 27001, which are great standards, but then the project finishes, and everyone's the effort disbands and the focus sort of wanes, and people slowly start moving backwards. And I think if the previous years have taught us anything, it's that we really need to keep security as part of our business as usual. It needs to be an ongoing thing. And the way we're responding to that with our client base is we're launching a managed security service, very much on the back of our move to Australia. And that allows our clients to consume our 24/7 SOC service, but also a security manager as a service. So they can use one of our team for a few days a month. And that's hopefully going to work out for our clients as a really good option to make sure they're protected, but it doesn't have to cost the earth either. And so we're working with a number of our clients to make sure that they are cyber resilient for the years ahead.
Okay, well, thank you very much for that, Stu. Excellent. I'd also like to thank Robert Campbell from the ComNet, who's helped me out in conversations behind the scenes. Look out for the next series, and if you're interested in taking part, please get in touch. Thanks once again, Stu.